Hello everyone, my name is DanielDTX and welcome to DTX Talks. DTX Talks is a podcast on YouTube and Spotify, and the host is DanielDTX. Me, what? I hope you're having a great day, morning, night, whatever it is for you. And thank you so much for stopping by my little new podcast. It is categorized as a podcast because, you're talking to a mic about things, and that is considered a podcast these days, and just how it is. I wouldn't really categorize it as a professional podcast. I wouldn't even consider it to be a normal podcast because for me, it's about talking about things that is in my heart or things that has happened or just in the bare minimum, just talking about things as it is. Because for me, honestly, has been the main course of the meal along the way for a lot of things. And what I mean about that is, if you do certain things and you're gonna kind of analyze it later on, then you kind of have to figure out okay, there's multiple sides of the story, but which one is kind of the story you're gonna stick with? And finding that, realm is rather hard sometimes, I would say. Because for me, everything has been about finding the right words, finding the right stories, finding the right reasons why it is what it is. Okay? It may sound very complicated right now because we don't have any context, but that's something I would talk about gradually along with the episodes that is coming. So just so you're aware, the podcast may be a little bit unfocused sometimes, but it is about talking about things all around, not just talking about things in a politically correct way, because that is also boring. So I hope you find this podcast to be a little bit entertaining, and I hope you find the podcast to be a little bit cool, and that you come back next Sunday to check in what we're gonna talk about then. But yeah, let's start off with the first episode of DTX Talks by saying why DTX Talks is a thing. So here's the deal, right? Back in 2018, 2019, around there, I was almost certain that I had a podcast in mind that I wanted to do. Um, and I even had an episode or two live on my Twitch back then, where I just talked about things as it was, as it was for me anyway. Might have not been the most, greatest setup of a podcast, but it is what it is. I had fun with it, and engaged with some comments in the comment section and stuff. So that was fun. I also did it in Norwegian. That was back then where I wanted to do Norwegian things, but I always had it back in my head that okay, I'm gonna end up talking English anyway, right? So I think the podcast actually switched from Norwegian to English. That is crazy. But that's kind of where I fell in love with just doing YouTube, because I have done YouTube before, actually in 2014 times. I did Minecraft, and I stacked up some books, and then I filmed my Minecraft content with a phone. Uh, so sometimes the camera fell down, I had to pick it up, and then didn't edit anything. Okay, it was what it was. Okay, and I was happy with it. Also, to be fair, I was like 12 and 13 back at that time, so But yeah, anyways, it's a little bit backtracking here. When I did the podcast, it didn't really have any, roots, and that did never kind of stop me from just having fun with it, and do talk about things that I wanted to talk about there and then. And since then, it's kind of just stuck with me that is the way I want to do everything in my life. I want to do things spontaneous, you can call it that. Impulsive, you can call it that too. But it's like, if you just live life minute by minute and just, it doesn't have to be, you know, professional per se. Nothing has to be professional. You can do you. And I figured out eventually, not in easy way, but I figured out that, what I'm doing is good enough for me. And if it's good enough for me, then it's good enough. That is something I really want to express, that if you think that you can copy paste something, sure, go ahead, but it can never be 100% perfection, right? You can't. You can say that, oh, I'm gonna be the next John Cena, in the wrestling world or acting world or, whatever, jacked, Sure, you can be 99.9%, maybe, if you're damn lucky, right? But you have to put in the grind, you have to kind of visualize it, and you kind of have to analyze so much. And it's gonna be rather impossible that you're gonna be 100% the person you're looking up to or having inspiration from, because nothing is wrong with getting inspiration to be someone, but you can never be that someone. You can be you, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is good enough. No matter if you think that, oh, I'm never gonna have success in this and this and that, right? Okay. At least you tried, and trying is better than to not try. If it's in a positive realm, of course, it's very subjective. But like if you, for example, let's say John Cena, you want to be John Cena, you want to be a wrestler, right? And you want to, do the AA, you want to do the whole shtick, right? Sure, go ahead. You can try the rap, you can try the, the moves and the finishers and all that, and you can be so great. Because if you push yourself hard enough, you can become whatever you want to be. You just have to put in the works. And that is exactly what the whole thing is about. It's about go for it, but don't think for a second that you are gonna be like that. I'm saying that because it's, everything. Basically, what I'm saying, let's come to a conclusion of that one. I've tried to not focus on becoming someone, but in the same time, I'm looking at different people in the interests I have, and I'm gonna admit, when I've been looking at some CEOs, for example, we're gonna come back to that later on with the esports and stuff. But when I'm looking into some CEOs for esport clubs, for example, I've been looking, up to them, and I want to be them. That's when I kind of hyper focus on myself being, at a higher level that I am realistically, right? Because I want to be like them, right? I want to be them. I want to have fun. I want to do things like, in a big money world and stuff like that. And I really came to a very toxic relationship with myself because I focused too much on becoming someone that I actually forgot who I am. I forgot what I can do. I forgot where I can personally go, right? And where I can, like, I want to be me now. Like, that's the thing. I don't want to be anyone. I want to be me. And I that is also complicated because sometimes I don't even know who I am. And there's also been I wouldn't call it a struggle, but a confusing time for me. Because deep down I know who I am, right? I know what I can do, and I'm damn proud of being myself, and I stick with that. I am what I am, and I'm good enough. I keep telling me that inside, but I also sometimes do forget. I sometimes say, nah, I'm not good enough, right? I'm having that voice that drags me down because I'm looking at so many other successful people. I come to a conclusion: screw that, screw that, screw that. I'm good enough. It is hard, it is tricky to find a solution to kind of get out of that realm, right? Back to that realm. Because you're gonna get stuck in it. And what happens if you're gonna get stuck in a realm where you don't feel you can be you? Oh, brother. You're gonna go through depression. You're gonna go through a lot of shit, right? What helped me the most is talking about it. Doesn't need to be a professional. In my case, it was both. Like, it was someone that I had, more casual conversations with, and actually it was a period where I had professional help. I'm gonna be honest, the casual help helped more than the professional help, and we were sitting in the couch behind me, and just having conversation, and just talking about things as it were. And that felt so good because it was no time limit. It was no like, oh, I have to be like there and there at this time because we only have 45-minute talk. I'm gonna be honest with you, when I had those 45 minutes talks, oh my god, that frustrated me so much. I couldn't get out my words that I wanted to, talk about. I couldn't. But then we had the casual talks, and oh my god, I felt good after each conversation. And that is what I'm talking about. You have to kind of let things out sometimes. You have to find what is right for you. Okay? What is right for me might not be the right thing for you. Right? You may appreciate professional talk over casual talk more than anyone, right? And that is okay. If you find your solution is good enough for you. So please, if you have something deep inside that you want to talk about, and you struggling with, you having anxiety, you having depression, whatever it is, please find someone to talk about it. If it's your, it could be your, if you have a bunny, if you have a cat, if you have a dog, if you have, a mother, father, or, siblings, or it doesn't matter what it is, it can be your, pillow, for all that matters. If you find a pillow to be a good conversationalist, then you go for it. You talk to that pillow, and you be proud of it. Okay, no shame in that. No shame in just speaking out loud to nobody, right? That's essentially what I feel like I'm doing. But I want to publish videos. I want to talk about things. I want to have a podcast because I want to do this. So I don't really. I do care. I'm not gonna cap on it. I do care if I get viewers, and I do care if people actually care about it. I would appreciate if this reaches out to someone who needs it. But I essentially don't care if there's nobody I'm talking to right now. And if it's sticking for like a month or two, no viewers, okay. At least I talked about it. At least it went out of my chest and I could talk about things. Letting the words out sometimes when nobody listening to it is also a good thing. Because then you letting out that you have it deep inside your mind. It feels like it's gonna explode your head because you can't hold it in anymore. Let it out. Talk about it. Do something about it. Because if you don't, oh brother, you may come to a bad period of time. you may getting into a position where it's gonna be hard to get out of. Because if you don't let out those words that you need to let out, it's gonna explode. And that is something that happened to me, and I really hope that it doesn't happen to you or anyone else. It really sucks. It really do suck. And it's not fun at all. It is not a good time at all. You should be able to care about yourself, and you should be able to, have that. I would. It's hard to describe everything to a perfection, and in a way of it to be a great understanding. But I think you understand what I'm trying to say. And I'm hoping that you figure out your way, right? Your way, you gotta figure it out. You have to. Because there's been a couple of times where it went to certain ways that I wish it didn't. When I held something inside of me for too long. It didn't lead to anything positive. I'll tell you that until I figured out what I could do about it and talk about it and all that. But that took time. It took effort. It took a great portion of me to get to the right place after it. So please, I'm begging, if you have something you really want to talk about, even write it down, you know? If you have a notepad, just write it down if you're not ready to talk about it. I totally understand. If you're not able to, talk about it loudly, then okay. It's okay to write it down. It's okay to make notes. Make just words and then dotted lines. That can be good enough for you, and that may work out for you. That's the thing. Everyone is different, and thank everything for that. I was about to say God, but it's like, you know what? It doesn't matter who we're gonna thank, because it's like, just thank you, whatever is up there. That is listening. That everyone is different, and everyone have different feelings about things, and that's just the way it should be. It's just the way it is, and that's something we should live with. I am so happy that I'm trying not to get emotional. Oh, oh, God. I'm trying not to get emotional. I'm trying not to cry on camera, because that is something I don't want to do. But I'm so happy. Man. Wow. Man. Okay, I can't control myself. Jesus. Wow. Oh God. Wow. Jesus. I'm just so happy that I figured it out in the end. And bro, what is happening? See, that's what I'm talking about. Talking about things can help you. It's uncontrollable. It's actually uncontrollable. But yeah, what I was trying to say is, I'm so happy I came to a position where everything is changed, and it's all good now, because I figured out ways. I figured out, oh man, let me just say this in another way, more accurate way, actually. I'm happy I came out alive. And figured out that To say that as it is, life is a bitch. Life is not fun. Not all the time. It should be fun now and then. And if you have like, parties or a good time like night out, that's perfect. But just being able to, you know, just being able to breathe fresh air. Brother, breathing fresh air, eating a you eating something so good that you wish you just had an unlimited amount of it. Drinking your favorite drinks. Watching a good movie. A good series. And finally, being able to ooh, and finally being able to love yourself. Oh man. I'm sorry. I I signed a deal with myself in my head that I was not gonna be emotional, cry. I might be emotional. Emotional is, I kind of expected that part, but crying, I didn't expect that part. But you know what? Grown men cries. Being able to laugh about it is a good thing. Let it out. Let it out. Whew. Man, if DTX Talks is gonna be all about crying, it's gonna be DTX Cries. It's gonna be an old segment. DTX Cries, and then we're gonna talk about something very emotional, very personal. Okay, so ooh, hold on. By the way, I'm not sponsored at all, but if you come to Norway, drink Urge. Urge is the best soda in Norway. Anyway, okay. Okay. It's about finding your ways and accepting that your ways is good enough. Because we all are different, and that is a good thing. If imagine a world where everyone is the same and everyone thinks the same, how boring would that be? Um, um, man, yeah, it's just how it is. It's finding your own ways to cope, I guess, and also to figure it out. That's kind of it. Um, some episodes are gonna be short, some episodes gonna be a little bit longer, but I'm trying not to be like the 2 hour podcast, or even 1 hour. Sometimes it might be 1 hour. It depends on what we're gonna talk about, what the subject is, and stuff like that. I guess I just wanna use the DTX Talks as a platform to talk about things. That's what I'm doing here. DTX Talks. I'm talking. I'm talking. It may also feel like a story that I'm telling. Oof, man. But all in all, it's a place for me to speak about it, talk about it. And I'm also trying not to stack these episodes in one go. I'm trying to do this actually weekly, instead of, being fully prepared. Because it's actually sometimes that might be a negative thing. Dependable. Like what I'm doing with, for example, certain games I did before on my channel. I did stack some episodes. I did maybe 2, 3, and then had it ready. But I'm also gonna try to not over push it, if that makes sense. Because if I over push something, it's not gonna, be fun. It's not gonna be entertaining. It's not gonna be cool. And I'm not trying to, have 100% focus on being, a great YouTuber. I'm just trying to be me and figure out me, I guess. Being me all the way. That's who you're gonna get on this channel. I'm not gonna fake anything. I think that's lame. Um, I might spare some words. I might, you know, be a little bit different on certain parts. Like, I don't know how to describe it. There's just always gonna be something that is not shown, and that might switch up sometimes. It's hard to explain it, but yeah. It feels so good for me to talk about things and letting it out, because I don't really like to admit it that I am emotional. But how about you make the decision if I am one of those emotional guys? Okay, you figure it out. But we're gonna talk about many things throughout the podcast, and I have some stories here and there about my route or road, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna talk about the esports. We're gonna talk about GTA roleplay. We're gonna talk about gaming and some other cool things about me. Really. But yeah, that is essentially it for the first episode of DTX Talks. I hope you have enjoyed, whether you're listening to me on YouTube, hello, or your Spotify, hello. Appreciate you, and just know that you're good enough for who you are. It's okay to be different. It's okay to figure things out by yourself or by others. You can ask for help, and it can be good enough for you, and that is what matters in the end of the day. Alrighty, without further ado, I appreciate you for watching or listening, or both, and I hope I see you in the next video and the next DTX Talks. Take care. Bye bye.